good morning, and welcome to Table Talk with Brenda Perryman right here on TV 33 WHPR, Comcast 20 or Comcast 90 in Oakland County, and of course in Detroit. And welcome to our show today. We got hot button issues, and then we have a little thing at the end, but I want to introduce my co-host first.
My name is Robert Thomas. I'm the Vice Chairman of the City of Detroit Board of Zoning Appeals.
Good morning. I'm Darren Calhoun, Supervisory Investigator with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in Detroit.
And I'm Chris Summerall, servant of the citizens of the City of Detroit.
Wow, you are a public servant, aren't you, Chris? Now, as is our tradition, on this day in African American Life in Detroit by Ken Coleman, let's see what happened on this day. In 1936, on this day, June 6th, a Gemini. Oh, my birthday's Monday. But anyway,
Really?
yes, Levi Stubbs is born. Stubbs will become lead singer for the legendary Motown vocal group, the Four Tops. The group will score a string of hits during the 60s and 70s, including Baby, I Need Your Lovin', Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch, I Can't Help Myself, Reach Out, and I'll Be There, Bernadette, Still Waters. But anyway, I could sing, but we have to do things. But happy birthday to the great, late Levi Stubbs. I'll say late, great Levi Stubbs.
So Brenda, did he write all of those songs? Or
He
sung
didn't
all
write,
those
he
songs?
sang them. He was the singer.
Oh, okay, didn't know that. That's new to me too.
He was also in the movie Little Shop of Horrors, where he played the voice of the plant.
Okay, I've heard the songs before. I just didn't know who actually sang it.
You haven't heard, Baby, I Need
Yeah, I've
You?
heard all of them
Okay.
before, but I never knew who.
Some people might say it's my singing. But I have a couple of quick announcements. 8 Mile, Wyoming, second annual community picnic with 3-on-3 basketball tournament is tomorrow, Saturday the 7th, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Alfonso Wells Park, located on Griggs and Burwood Street between Chippewa and Norfolk in Detroit. Games for kids, a live DJ, have fun, energize our park community. 3-on-3, if you want to play that basketball game, if you think you're that good, Chris. Registration starts at 10 a.m. First game starts at 11. That's the 9 to 12 age group. Is that the ones you want to play with? The 9 to 12? Anyway, 4 players per team, 3 starters, 1 alternate. The older group, let's see, 18 and over. That's you. $10 per player. Winning team receives trophies, T-shirt, and a $200 cash prize. So if you want to get with the little ones, Chris, you can get with them. And then
Actually, they have an excellent turnout too for that Alfonso Wells tournament.
I'm sure they have plenty of Gatorade just in case people get cramps.
yeah, might get a cramp. I mean, yes, I know about cramps too. Anyway.
Just saying.
America's Best Mortgage, purchase or home save. NACA, www.naca.com, low interest rate, no down payment, and so forth. Purchase and rehab. The next workshop is Saturday, June 14th, 10 a.m. to 2 at Pure Word Missionary Baptist Church, 20011 Grand River, Detroit 48219. You can also call about at 1-888-302-6222. And I'd like to thank Tom Wilson for sending those announcements in. And we have a lot of stories, but we're going to get through them kind of quick. We have a couple of nationals, then some local ones. President Obama refuses to apologize for the POW, getting the POW Bergdahl out. I kind of agree with him at this point. Why would he apologize? I know why they want him
Why
to.
they want them to, right?
Yeah. Strategically, there's no upside for him apologizing for this that I can see. This was a situation where some people are gonna be upset about it, and some people are going to be happy about it. And it's a win lose because everybody's not going to be happy. But at this point in time, an apology would be disastrous for him because it would undermine his decision making ability.
Yeah,
It also undermines the office of the presidency. I mean,
Right.
he has certain powers that's given to him that was utilized in every other administration. He shouldn't apologize for using with the tools that he has available to him.
I agree. He shouldn't apologize. He made a decision. He has to live with it. But I remember last week we just talked about not negotiating with terrorists, and yet and still we did this time around. But unfortunately, I think because Berdahl was failing, his health was seriously failing. So he had to intervene somehow, and he made a trade-off with, I believe, 5 top terrorist
Terrorists.
officials.
That was a big source of conversation on social media this week is whether we negotiate with terrorists. And like I think I was chiming in on this, that is not a law.
It's not.
It's a policy. And excuse me, Iran-Contra was dealing with
That's what I was
terrorists.
thinking about too.
You know,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
to the point where
Certainly not the
it
first
was
time.
unlawful.
Yeah.
And they were placed, Oliver North was placed on trial, which he should have been,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was eventually turned over. So it's a policy. Yeah, we don't want to negotiate with terrorists because because what may happen and what the precedent it will set. But I think with this president, there's an American over there.
Yeah.
And if we're all waving the flag saying that and a lot of people were, and all these same people who were coming out now against the president was saying, yeah, we need to go over there to protect our interests. I don't know what our interest was in Iraq, but that's an old argument. And we're leaving a soldier, regardless of what he did, we're leaving a soldier in the battlefield. I think that's a worse precedent.
And one of the
Right.
things they're attacking now is Berdahl's character. What
Right.
type of official, what type of person he was. They're attacking his
Gonna leave
family.
this time.
They're
We're
attacking everybody now, saying that hey, he should never been released. This is a
Should've
bad
never sent him
decision.
over there. He was a
Yeah.
soldier.
Yeah, and I think that is that's just deplorable. And I think that these stories they don't really hold a lot of weight.
Yeah.
One of the stories in that report that was put together was how he wandered off in Afghanistan.
Right.
Well, where really do you think he's going? You think he's going to go to the 7-Eleven, or maybe he's going to take up residence there?
Well,
permanently?
really, I think that he has a few issues himself. Berdahl does have some issues, but like President Obama, I was getting ready to say President Kennedy. No, the reason why, because I was watching the documentary, The 60s, this morning on CNN. Anyway, he says we're not going to leave anyone on the field, and that's something that is policy. If we could not,
Imagine what would happen, and the hailstorm would have happened if we left just one soldier there.
right.
They would have gone after. The
Well,
president's
what if
head.
they would have killed him? Then they would have been on Obama for that. So that is just
If
ridiculous.
you did do anything, bring them back here and let the military deal with them the way the military deals with them.
Court
I
martial.
looked at it a different way too. Since Berdahl has been over there for the past 5 years now, he still can come back with some type of intel about these officials over there
Absolutely.
that's running these terrorist networks. You don't know what level he's been introduced to. And he's been over 5 years. I'm pretty sure he's been introduced to some pretty high officials. He know how they look. He's interacted with them. They've done whatever. So he can come back with some intel.
Well, bet your bottom dollar, guys, they are interrogating him to the point to find out whether or not what he's going to do now that he's back. They are checking out if he's been, what do they call that?
Call it debriefing.
Debriefing, but they want to make sure that he hasn't sided with his
compromised.
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
right,
Yeah,
right.
they even tried to attack his father with the long beard.
Ah,
Oh my.
Because he was, since he was a prisoner over there, he was trying to support his son and grew his beard out. So, you have people on different networks attacking him, saying that he looks like a
When athletes grow
Pakistani. He's
their
like
beard out.
he could be a possible terrorist now.
That's right.
And, you heard some commentary.
ignorance.
Actually, you put a bandana on a guy
Yeah.
with a duck, and he
We
may
have
be good.
we have a quick call on the line because we got to move on to the subjects. We have Brother Jeff on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Queen.
Good morning.
And good morning to your guests.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm in agreement with the fact that the president should have brought the soldier back. But I also disagree when we talk about or having an understanding about Americans' dealings in foreign affairs. You know, a lot of us are not abreast of the many issues that goes on in foreign countries that this government does that we don't know. And if we knew about some of the activities that this government does on foreign source, we would be appalled to it if we had any type of God in us. And so when you talk about understand Afghanistan, they shouldn't have never been in Afghanistan, first of all, because you had a president, Bush, understand, who actually lied to the American people and was never brought on trial, understand, for the lie that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. But it's all about the powers that be. And you have to look at, understand, what was America's or those who run this country, what was their investments in Afghanistan? And a lot of us don't know. So you think about those soldiers, understanding individuals who lost their lives on the basis of a lie in the name of defending the diplomacy or whatever, or the rights of American citizens, and yet understand they went in there based on a lie of a president.
Right. Absolutely, Brother Jeff. We thank you for that.
Right. You all have a blessed day.
You too.
buddy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. We have Miss Marcia on the line. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm really enjoying the show. You know, I'm so happy that President Obama took the position that I'm the president. I made the decision, and let history determine whether or not he acted properly. Okay? We spent $2 trillion to kill people making $200 a year. $2 trillion. And if your son or your daughter was there, what would you do? I would have done the same thing that his parents.
Me too.
I want
Me
my
too.
child back.
Me too.
By any means necessary.
Absolutely.
Me too. You would have seen me on television with a turban. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Marcia. Okay, everybody. So I think we're all a burqa. Yeah, I could have had
That's
that
funny
on
because the
too.
dad actually learned the language. Of
I
the
know,
Taliban,
I
so
know.
He went that far.
He went very far because it was about compromise. I want to get my son back. Back quickly with General Motors, Mary Barra fired 15 at GM, and there's one guy who knew that ignition wasn't working, that switch was not working. They called it the switch from hell. And many lives were lost because of that. And they say they're facing $2 billion in lawsuits.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's unfortunate that that this has fell on her shoulders. We know that recently she's been the first female to head.
Well,
GM
they
Global.
knew it was going to come out. That's why they put a woman there.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but what I do like about this is that it appears that she's taking very decisive action.
Yeah.
And
that female.
she's accepting the responsibility to clean up this mess and to right the ship. There's going to be some fallout behind this, and it's going
Yeah, their stock went up.
And quite frankly, you know, I agree with you. And as an engineer, 15 people was fired from this debacle here, and I'm pretty sure because they signed off on these every last one of these designs.
Mm-hmm.
So every last one of those engineers that had anything to do with that particular project was canned. Mm-hmm. And that was the right thing to do. And she really is stepping up to the plate and doing her job as CEO of and protecting General Motors.
You know, I'm going to take it from a different angle. And what's going to happen is in the weeks to come, President Obama is going to get blamed for this because he helped save GM. And if he had not helped save GM and all those millions of jobs, then these ignitions would have worked. So.
Actually, I think they've already attacked them on that one already. I think it may be a dead one now. That probably, I think that came out early on when they had issues.
Well, it was 2006
Yeah.
when it started. He
Yeah.
wasn't in office, but of course, he saved the company. Yeah, so that's what happened. And he
It
saved.
is unfortunate because I mean, a lot of us drive GM cars, GM vehicles, and that's
I don't. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I had a cough.
But you know, these people are losing their lives over a park.
Yeah,
That's deplorable. And if these I don't know, and I haven't heard yet. And I know we've read a little bit about it, but they haven't come out with any criminal charges.
well,
I
they
wonder
could.
if
They
that's
said
something
they said that he could face criminal charges. Here's the other thing: having been in a catastrophic car accident at that where I was almost killed, I know. And the family, it's not just the person who dies; it's their family. Just everything about it. It is really horrible, especially something that was preventable.
Yeah.
That's the operative word here. It's preventable. And because all the workers do is put in what they're told.
What do you guys think about the possibility of GM using that bankruptcy shield? You know, possibly trying to skirt some, I guess, responsibility toward the victims' families. That's going to be interesting to see if they play that card, so to speak, or if they really just own up to, to basically being in the wrong here. I'm interested to see, from a business perspective, that's something that they're probably going to think about. They're going to think about.
They're thinking about every last one of those scenarios,
Yeah.
possible scenarios
Yeah.
anyway. So
But it's just, I mean, because there were more than, I think they said 13 or 33. I forgot how many people they said were killed, but
13.
I'm sure 13. I know it. I mean, I think it was more than that, personally, because some were killed, then people were injured, and some car accident injuries stay with you for the rest of your life.
And as a former engineer myself, I've signed off on many diagrams dealing with nuclear power aircraft carriers, and you're held liable regardless, especially your signature going there as an engineer, not just a company. And he purged himself, by the way.
Yeah.
Perjured.
He perjured himself. So he's going to face some serious charges. They're not going to let that just skirt by.
He's going to be a fall guy.
Well, let me ask you this.
Deservedly so.
Well,
this
according
would
to
be-
what we know
this would be
now,
my
yeah.
question for an engineer. Once you sign off on those designs, where is the responsibility on the maker of that part? Because if he signed off on a good design and the parts are bad, and then they ran all those bad parts,
Well, the deal is, I believe, to my knowledge, they made the part. GM made the part. And that's what the issue is over.
Okay. Well, we'll see how all of this plays out, because we know that's going to keep going for a while. Now, let's talk about the grand bargain. Can anyone explain that to me? Well, they say a bipartisan Senate majority passed a $195 million aid bill to Detroit pensioners. The result of an effort included a Lansing visit from U.S.
I can explain it to you.
Okay, Judge Gerald Rosen.
Very, very, very short sentence. The best way that I can explain it is take it or else. Take it or else. And as a servant in the city of Detroit and a firefighter for about 12 years, that's really how we feel. There hasn't really been a lot of transparency in a lot of very important and critical areas, and there hasn't been a lot of dialogue, as far as what is possible. And now even the title of this grand bargain is somewhat insulting to a lot of individuals. Because this isn't a bargain and this isn't really grand. But what we have is we have a city that's in dire circumstances, and you have some aid that is being held hostage unless individuals basically sign away their rights to basically see what other options are out there. And, again, because there's a veil of secrecy, or I guess confusion, or it's not secrecy, it's not confusion, it's just lack of understanding or lack of explanation about some of the details with regard to this. It's really hard to figure out which way is up.
Well, it's almost like, really, I hear that the state owed Detroit more money.
Yeah.
And it's like
Several.
someone throwing you a bone and expecting you to smile and call it food when it's only a bone.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, in a way, as if someone owed you money and you go to them when they owe you money. They say, well, I don't have the $40 I owe you, but I got the 25.
Yeah.
I got 25.
And you better be happy with it.
Yeah, and so, you in your mind, you're thinking, well, if I don't take this 25, I might not get nothing.
Right.
And so, there's again, there's injustice laced throughout this grand bargain, and unfortunately, it's going to be righted on the backs of everyday working people, which is the most
And
tragic.
That's the tragic
That's-
part,
that-
because these people spent their life in service to the city of Detroit and to their fellow man, doing everything that they can. And it's unfortunate that the city is losing this kind of money where they can't hold their bargain.
It's an emotional disconnect.
Right.
It's Detroit is really on an island because
I know.
no one identifies with Detroit. Detroit really might as well be another country for
Well-
the way that people look at and actually empathize with Detroit, because when it's spoken about, people speak about municipal workers or the city of Detroit like it's some foreign land, like they let them get what they deserve. These are your
It's-
until they
it's so
go to get those
unfortunate.
services for the city,
So-
and then they really
or
in
until
their-
it comes home to
comes
So
their
to
neighborhood.
unfortunate.
their house is on fire, then
yeah.
they want the city workers there.
We have Troy on the line. Good morning, Troy.
Good morning. How y'all brothers doing this morning?
How's it
Morning,
going,
Troy.
Fine.
Yes. And I hear y'all talking about the pensioners, and it just seems like it's like the people are confused about the pension, right? If they confused about it, then everybody should just vote no.
Right.
If
That's
they
what
could
they're
take your
saying.
money and just do like that, they would have just took your money. They wouldn't have asked for no vote to take your money. So
What-
it obviously they can't just take it.
Well, Troy,
So
it seems
everybody
like
should just vote no. I mean, if and let them start the process over. Because if they trying to balance this on y'all backs, y'all ain't had nothing to do with the money being caught up and held up and all of that. So vote no. Everybody should be telling all the pensioners and all the retirees, even if you're not a retiree, you should be telling the people to vote no on that grand bargain, because it's not a bargain at all.
Well,
It's
my
laced with
first-
confusion. You don't even know what's going on with it. They telling you that they can change this and change that after you sign it.
my first indication was when Snyder said, "Trust me,"
Yeah.
Yes, his
because
track record is proven that he cannot be trusted. So that should tell the people right there. And that's just it with my comment. And I'm gonna continue on to watch the show and listen. And you brothers and Miss Perryman, you have a blessed day.
Thank you,
Thank
Troy.
Yeah,
Thank-
Michael Orr said that if we didn't try to do this part of the grand bargain is the $195 million
Yeah,
right.
that the House, Senate, and the House, the Senate, and the governor is going to relinquish to Detroit. He stated that if we don't intervene now, or if the state doesn't intervene now, then we're going to have another slash at the pensions, which,
Anyone,
it could or could not be a lie. I'm pretty sure they
Well-
probably would slash it again.
yeah.
And the other side to it is the state also said, well, there's a state senator who claimed that, hey, if we don't give them $195 million, then we're going to be on the hook for $250 million plus $30 million in legal fees. So it made sense now to go ahead and give the $195 million so they won't slash the pensions again, and then everybody have a happy day.
Well, anyone who knows anything about negotiation or sales knows that this is a very basic tactic that's called fear of loss.
Yeah.
And so we see it every day in other sales pitches. Do it now. This sale ends today.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Exactly.
And so this is just on a grander scale.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing negotiation tactics that are as old as times past, and we really need to. I feel personally we need to be very, very cautious and careful as far as where we sign our name.
Absolutely.
What I's we dot, what T's we cross, because anytime a person puts a clock on you, as far as right now, or else it's gone forever, then you have some reason to be concerned.
Well, they're asking the pensioners to vote no, just by merit of where it came from. We have Mark on the line.
Hey,
Good
how
morning.
y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Fine,
morning.
thanks.
I don't understand this. I dare you to come after somebody who didn't work and had an agreement and a contract with you, and I didn't retire. Now I got to give you back on my money because something that you did wrong.
Right.
You see what? And then you blackmail me. If I don't vote the way you want me to vote, you're going to take more money. Does that sound like a gangster move? Huh? See,
Right,
what
it
I'm saying
does.
in the city of Detroit is, they coming at us. They coming for us now because Detroit made more middle class people that look like me and you than anywhere in the United States. Now they coming for us, okay? So it's time for us to wake up and realize, vote no, because you're not taking anything that I didn't work for 30 years, and all of a sudden you come back and say, well, hey, we need some money back. It don't work like that. Have a good day.
Thank you,
The
Mike.
the only problem, and not, you know, just jumping on the other side of this though, the only problem is what's the alternative?
Well, I think that it's unknown right now, and so it's a door. What's behind door number 3
right,
or door number
right.
2, and I think that in harmony with the last caller's point is that we really need to look at this on a very individual basis. These pensioners, these cities pensioners, are not getting a lot.
Right.
And so when you start talking about taking away the little bit that they do have, when you compound that with inflation, when you compound that with gentrification that's happening in the city, the rise in cost of living in the city, you know, it's really, really putting folks in a very, very tough situation. And I agree with the last caller that, you know, but where I disagree is that we have to take the emotional part out and start to look at this strategically, and you know, the same way that they're looking at it, and because we're going to have to work with them, and we can't you know, work with them if every conversation is just pure emotion. I understand, but we need to sit down at a table and try to get some, you know.
The alternative would be to probably sell the art at the DIA, in which everyone's trying to.
That's not
block.
going to
They're
happen.
trying to avoid that.
Well, this is part of that deal,
Right,
though,
right.
and this is one of the reasons why City
But
Council
no-
signed off on it yesterday.
but-
It's a part of the grand
Make
deal.
it
here.
authority.
Well,
They want to shore up $816 million, including $100 million coming from the DIA itself. This $195 million coming from the state, and I think $366 million coming from charitable organizations, including other folks that's coming in. It's a part of the plan. They have to show before the judge that, hey,
We're
we
doing
have
our
a
part.
plan
Yeah.
right
They're
here,
just not taking it.
and yeah, they're not going to take it at all.
So I guess they'll impose it.
Well, that's one of the, yeah,
That's
what
an
it-
op-
That's a
alternative.
possibility.
That's that
Well, that's
possibility,
yeah,
right.
that's
That's-
definitely a possibility
that's
if
the
you leave it in the
unfortunate
court's
part. I mean,
hands.
Well, the saga continues.
And even the city council, they signed off on yesterday, but it was going to be signed off on regardless. Or went to the council, said, hey, would you sign off on switching your I guess your ownership of the art to some charitable organization now? So if people come after it now, then now it's in a charitable organization. You can't touch it now.
Yeah.
Well, we have to move on because, well, I have a question. I know that my producer, Michelle, went to the Grand Prix, she and her husband. Did any of you go?
I didn't go to the Grand Prix. I went down, like I told you before, I went down there before just to see the layout, see how the park was looking. You know,
How did it look
looked
to you?
Wonderful. It looks great. There were
Grass green?
grass was green,
Trees
and
green?
cut. There were people one of my favorite pastimes. I saw a lot of people fishing,
Right.
so that was a welcome sight. People were
We're
still
talking about Belle Isle,
talking about
everybody.
Belle Isle.
I couldn't get on there to go to the driving range for some reason, but yeah, I didn't go to the Grand Prix.
You tried to
go
get
to the
on
driving
on there to go to the driving
It's
range
open.
this
Yeah.
weekend?
This past weekend.
Why
yeah.
would you do that?
So I could
But you
improve
know,
my stroke there.
no, I'm just saying, but you know that
always
you
improving
can't.
Really, you know?
Well, you can. You could get on. You could have gotten on there
Could've
if you
got
got
on
on there early. But I went there later on, and they weren't letting anybody else on.
The
So-
early bird
Track
catches
was
the
all up in
worm.
the front
Yeah,
anyway, so-
yeah.
But it was beautiful. I mean, they did a great job with it.
They
Even the
said
bubbles.
100,000 people came in those days.
They also
100,000
said
people.
that Belle Isle was the winner out of this.
Yeah, it was. And now all the arguments is, yeah, we should have, we could have done that, and
2 GM cars came in, I guess, first place.
We have
Two
Theo
different
on the
events.
line. Good morning, Theo, again.
Happy Friday to all of you.
How you doing, Theo?
I wanted to respond as it relates to what we're calling the grand theft, because this grand scheme that Governor Snyder is promoting around the city is very interesting. And he knows that people do not trust him So we find him on the radio with different people that he thinks can help him push his program. Now, you ask what other choice is there. Well, the first thing is the retirees need to check the box that it'll say either no or it will say rejects. Okay? They need to do that. Now, it is strange that all of these ballots have to be sent to California, where nobody can have the kind of oversight that they need to have. Why would you trust somebody who's trying to stab you in the back and cut your throat at the same time? He is not to be trusted. Kevin Orr is not to be trusted. And when this plan is rejected, the bankruptcy is canceled. And they have an opportunity to go back to the drawing board, they, meaning Kevin Orr and Snyder, and come back one more time. If it is rejected the second time, then the bankruptcy piece is eliminated altogether. Don't you find it interesting that they keep telling us the city is broke, but they're paying lawyers $1,000 an hour? And don't you find it interesting that the judge has thrown out objections, but yet these lawyers are explaining about the objections? It's really strange. They are sending invoices to the city for work that is not needed because the judge threw the objections out. So it sounds to me like some fraud is going on as well. Have any of you read the plan of adjustment?
Have you?
No,
They come out with disclosure statements. Then they come out with a second disclosure statement. Every time the retirees go through this, and particularly the two gentlemen who are right there on WHPR on every Tuesday at 9 a.m., they read them. They're the only two that I'm aware of who have read all of the plans of adjustment that have come out. And don't you find it interesting that ballots were sent out and they were found to be erroneous, and now they're sending out additional ballots?
Yeah, they're printing up new ballots.
Yeah. You know, thank you for your call, Theo. I think that you make a really, really strong point as far as, you know, what are these plans? What do they really contain? And, you know, it's a situation where we do need to look more critically at that, to the point of, you know, the city paying the attorneys X amount of dollars per hour, and is the city really broke? I think that we really need to have a realistic conversation. You know, I think after, you know, when you're an adult, you know that there's always levels to everything. You can be broke and you can be broke. And I think that the city is broke. Now, whether it's broke,
Yeah.
you know, that can be debatable.
And we're not.
But what it's important for us to, on our end, acknowledge the position that we are in, so that we seem credible when we are negotiating. Because if we don't acknowledge any type of issue, if our stance is, you know, we're good, we're fine, just leave us and we'll be okay, it makes us seem really not sane. You know, we have some issues in the city, and
You know what? It's not about leaving us, we'll be okay. It is about analyzing what is in all of the plans of adjustment.
there you go.
They're on the internet. People can read them. Now it's over 1,000 pages, okay? The original one was approximately 400, and the adjustment that came out was 300 and some, et cetera, et cetera. But they need to be read. Within those pages, as an example, they're asking the retirees to sign away their constitutional right.
Yeah,
They're
state.
asking them to sign agreeing not to sue. Now, why would you ask somebody not to sue if you weren't doing anything crooked? Doesn't that seem interesting to you?
Right, and I mean, it's just
so
ridiculous.
sad that all of the kinds of draconian things they want to do to the retirees are within the pages of the adjustment, but nobody's reading them, and they're not sharing it with the people in the community. And we encourage as many people as possible to tune into this show, to tune into the show that comes on Tuesday at 9, or the one on Monday at 9,
Right.
and find out what it is. It's not hard. If it takes more than one person, divide up the pages and then discuss the pages.
Well, there's another thing you could do. You could break it down.
Exactly.
If somebody
Exactly.
could just break it down, like how in college, I know sometimes if we didn't want to read the book, we get the Cliff Notes,
Yes,
which gave
yes.
us the most important parts of
Yeah,
it. And so
exactly.
if somebody could do the Cliff Note version of it, that would be helpful also. But thank you for your call, Theo. We got to move on to the next.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Theo.
Thank you.
Theo, thank you. So they had with the Belle Isle, they had Roger Penske. I am not a Roger Penske fan, but anyway, they had a charity
You're a LeBron
gala
James fan.
on, huh?
No, never mind.
What you
Said you're a LeBron James
Oh,
fan.
please.
Poor thing.
Anyway, we'll get to that in just a moment. They've raised over $620,000 at this charity gala. How much were the doggone tickets? But anyway, for the Belle Isle Conservancy. And
I absolutely think that's just a jewel that we need to capitalize. Even though it's a state park now, I think the city can capitalize off of that for jobs for young people, summer jobs that are coming up. They can go out and pick, just the same way you see summer jobs out at the state parks. The state can employ some of the kids here in the city of Detroit to go out there and start picking up trash.
And
it's just an
I'd like to
absolute
see an area where you could have vendors.
Yeah.
Vendors, people can
got the
every
casino
day
right
like a
there.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a park similar in Toronto, and it really when I had the opportunity to visit it, it really reminded me aesthetically of Belle Isle, except it did have vendors, and it gave a whole new dimension to the island. And it wasn't for fear of the purists, it did not lose the appeal that a natural environment had. It just gave options. And if you limit or put a cap as to vendors or what type of opportunity retail experience, I think it can be a good thing.
Well, I have a club that I'm starting called the Black Jeep Club, and all us old heads, we're going to go out there and we're going to line up on Belle Isle. We're going to do our hands out the window like this, and we're going to, of course, play Temptation music. Yeah, and then when the police come, we're going to get out what you want. But anyway, I got a whole plan for the Black Jeep Club.
Pay that $11 fee.
But
I already did. I paid the fee. I got my new license. I
on
paid
another
it.
note, Belle Isle gives credibility toward Snyder and Orr. Because
That's the unfortunate.
because you have a faction of you have the same two opposing sides. One side said no, this is a terrible idea. It went through anyway, and it appears to be working great.
In the short run.
So what it does is it gives them credibility going forward that their ideas will work.
And Snyder took advantage of it last week too.
Absolutely,
He took full advantage of
full
it.
advantage.
Oh, he
and,
just gets on my nerve. I shouldn't. He does. He texts my pension. I mean, he
He texts
is.
you?
Yes, I'm Brenda.
text,
You know who I
TXT?
am,
Yeah.
right? He
Wow. What time was it?
taxed.
Oh, I
my
thought you said he texts you pension.
No.
thought-
See, he's rich. We know that. Okay, let's get into some sports, guys. I wanted to get into that today because you all. Well, first thing, Donald Sterling. He agrees to sell the Clippers. I don't know what happened. I saw a picture of him in a black church
$2 billion.
this week.
Yeah.
$2 billion. He
billion,
made a
that
heck,
happened.
heck of a
For a
profit.
$12 million company.
$2
Well,
billion.
yeah, when he firstly bought it was like $16 million he purchased it for in like 86 or something.
$2 billion.
And now it's worth
Well, I
$2
think
billion.
the interesting thing is that this controversy no doubt added value to that team. And
I think so.
Well, yeah, and
then they were in a
Well, there was
playoff.
they're a playoff team too. And they're going to be a playoff contenders for the next couple of years.
They have some great players on their team.
Great
Players
talent.
and Great talent.
and I think that now whoever and we know that the projected owner will be the Microsoft guy.
People shouldn't be allowed to have that much money.
He's gonna be
Golly.
his image is just gonna be that of the savior. This is the guy who got rid of
Can do no wrong.
the Wicked Witch of the
But
West.
some people
Wicked
said
Witch of the West.
the fact that he was with Microsoft should be a thumbs
Microsoft
down.
is based out of California.
Right.
You know, there's
Yeah.
a couple of good things going on there.
Yeah,
that other
a
people aren't.
couple,
people,
but
he got
some
his
of the
money, he got out.
software has been bummy. Well,
Windows 8 is trash.
that's over. That's over. And I
Let's say
wanted to
he's a
bring this up
former
last week
CEO.
before we get to the finals and to these team things, especially last night. The Pistons, yeah, I got a cramp in my leg. But anyway, the Piston coach, Van Gundy, told Dan Gilbert, worry about your own team. Dan Gilbert's team is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Dan Gilbert said Pistons need to move to downtown Detroit.
Well, they do.
They do.
Well,
I
I
agree.
agree. I mean, I lived
Well, he's been saying that for years now.
And he's
Yeah.
investing in
And George,
the city
I was going
of
to say,
Detroit.
George Jackson last year was like, hey, we have a nice space for the Pistons Stadium right here in downtown Detroit.
Right.
If you guys come on board, we
Right
have
off
it for you, man.
75, right? I mean, they over where the old train station is, over by Trump. They need to come down.
What
Imagine all
amazes
the
me
teams
is
downtown.
what amazes me is I go to every other city, and you will see, especially large cities, mid-sized to large cities,
All of them.
they're downtown, man.
Right
They're
downtown.
accessible, for Detroiters to go to. They could get on your metro system here with the
Right.
bus
DC,
system here, the
goes
future
right-
M1 rail. Hey, hop on the train, hop on a bus. Your rapid transit system
It's
to come
gonna
to the
happen.
game.
And in DC, there's the metro system goes right to
Yeah.
MCI Center.
The Verizon
Listen,
Center.
it's
Right.
going to happen. The Pistons will eventually be downtown.
But
and
you all don't remember when the Pistons were downtown.
When they were at the Joe, I saw them play at the Joe once.
Oh, the Cobo Hall was the place for the Pistons.
So
I mean, they
bring
had
'em
the
back, bring 'em
players
home.
down in the front and everything like that. And I just think it's wonderful to have your team here. In fact, I wrote a editorial on it because Isaiah Thomas said that as a little boy, he used to sneak into whatever arena that was that the Chicago Bulls were playing in. And I said, our kids don't have that opportunity to sneak into an arena.
On
Think
top
about
of that,
when
that alone.
there's a few days, a few weeks when the Lions are playing and the Tigers are still playing,
Yeah.
and that corridor is so electric, and it's so live. It's so because the Tigers will be playing in playoff
Can you imagine the
time.
Tigers, the
Lions and the Pistons
Lions?
at the same time.
No, it'll be the Tigers, the Pistons, and the Wings.
Yeah, the Wings are playing, if they were still playing.
I got two things for you. Number one, I've been getting free tickets to go to the Pistons game,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to Auburn Hills like that far, especially coming out to work or doing something visit. I'm not going all the way out there. And you go out there, have a couple of beers, and have to drive back.
45
No, I'm
minutes.
not about to do all that.
Yeah.
Number two, I have people who come in for their games, and they're like, "Dude, the Pistons play in Auburn Hills. This is like 45 minutes from the airport. What is going on here?"
And the wait
It's
to get
nowhere
into
near
the
that
Palace, it's
Detroit.
a full hour.
Yeah.
It's a full hour to get
Yeah.
to a Pistons game from
just to get
Detroit.
on the parking lot.
Yeah, just to get in the
And they're
park.
like,
then
man,
leaving, it's ridiculous. I mean, they take you all the way.
Not only-
Bring them home. Bring them back to Detroit.
It's like going to Lansing.
Walk. I can leave work and walk to the stadium. Yeah, bring them home. You have. I mean, and what happened is you bring jobs in, you bring construction in, you bring infrastructure. You have to build up the infrastructure. Everyone would
But-
win if you bring those.
But
things.
again, you're fighting, probably one of the strongest counties nationwide, Oakland County, and
Oakland County.
but also you're fighting the perception of the old Detroit, and so
Right.
these arguments, the catalyst is based off of perception that was 20, 25, 30 years ago. There's a new day and age in the city,
and it's
there's a new
changing.
synergy in the city
It is.
that is attracting professionals. Several businesses are choosing to go downtown Detroit, and so the dynamics
But
are
I
different.
think about the people of Detroit. It should be accessible to them and not priced out of the market either.
The flip side of the argument is, what are you going to do with the stadium?
The
afterwards?
Palace?
The Palace.
Who
Because
cares?
Well, you don't want to
Who
sit
really
up there
cares?
like the
It's a
Pontiac
concert.
Silverdome right
It's
now.
a concert venue. It's a concert venue.
Let the
I
shot
don't know
play
if
there.
I don't know if it's going to sustain itself
they're
on
going-
concerts
they're going to
alone,
Oklahoma.
But I don't care. Why would I care about the Palace?
but I know you wouldn't care
But
because
as
you
a
What?
owner-
Wait,
well,
wait,
you
wait,
live-
wait. I
because
gotta
you live
hear.
in Southfield.
No, I don't
But,
live in Southfield. Excuse me. I don't live in Southfield. But why wouldn't I care? Well, I mean, why would I care about the Palace of
I'm saying not
Auburn?
you particularly. You probably
You as a
wouldn't care,
Detroiter.
but people in Auburn Hills would care. They'd be like, hey, man, you guys leaving us alone by
But that-
ourselves
Okay,
now.
Fine,
okay.
But for 15, 20 years, they've taken all the revenue
Well,
from the
absolutely,
city
yeah,
of Detroit.
yeah,
So now it's Detroit's turn.
Okay.
Well, they need to
All right.
move it anyway. They
It's
need
a
to
new
move it back to
synergy.
Detroit
And I
regardless.
wanted to say this. It's a new synergy.
Yeah.
When you see people jogging downtown at 7 o'clock in the evening, walking these little rat dogs at 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening, there's a
Take
whole new
offense
synergy.
to that.
Little rat dogs.
It's not
Well,
a
red
dog.
dogs,
It's a dog.
period.
It's
We
a
got to go on
Do
to
you
the
have one?
finals. We only have 4 minutes. Last night,
Predictions.
Cramp. I can't-
last
about it.
night, I think LeBron James got a cramp. I know how that feel, LeBron. But
carry me off.
the San Antonio Spurs won the game. And Chris, what do you think?
I think that the San Antonio Spurs did exactly what they should have done. They were at home. They capitalized on something unfortunate. And interesting thing is, if I can remember last year, when the Miami Heat were the
Oh, yeah.
champions, they lost for game 1 too.
You talking about yesteryear?
No, not really yesteryear. I'm talking about the current champions. So, but
I wonder about Miami Heat fans.
Well,
I just wonder.
marketing.
It was
you know,
staged.
marketing.
It was staged. So
Marketing.
what happened was
What had happened was-
the Spurs been practicing the Heat for some time now, and they cut off the Heat
Yeah.
in the stadium, and he caught a cramp.
Wait, was it
But he's
too
the best
cold or
player
too
on the
hot?
planet. You
Yes,
can't
It was
sir.
too
He's the
hot.
best player on the
It was,
planet.
it was too hot.
He's not the best.
His
Oh,
only job in life is
That
to
was
condition
staged.
his body.
That's
It's a
cool.
conspiracy.
My only job is to investigate employment
Jesus
discrimination.
got tired sometimes. He was perfect.
Not during a game, not while he was preaching, not on the mount. He wasn't,
Yeah, I guess
he
you're
wasn't
right
tired
about
on the
that.
side. Didn't
he
say,
got to sit a lot, and people gathered around him.
But
as he-
Exactly. He
the
said-
point is is that it's one game,
Crap.
and I really find it amusing, and I really enjoy to see seeing my friends get some type of thrill out of one game. It's it's similar to the whole
Till
battle
Saturday.
versus the war.
Well, they're
Till
gonna take
Saturday.
they're gonna take the championship.
Yeah.
Well, Saturday we have until Saturday to get this out.
Enjoy.
I hope he gets
enjoy
over
it.
his
having a great
cramp.
time.
Enjoy
I-
it.
I
you
hope
know.
he gets over it.
But anyone who's played sports and suffered any of those type of serious
Oh.
leg cramps,
Isaiah Thomas.
It is
Wait,
no,
let me
no,
get
because
my
Isaiah
violin.
Thomas
Isaiah
specifically said that
He's an elder
he
statesman.
and Michael Jordan would not be able to play.
Yeah, he said that on television. What did he say at the room? Man up.
Well, you were there.
Man up.
I know you were there.
Isaiah Thomas
But
is
I
a
watched
bad boy. Come on.
Isaiah's
I watched him play on
25
a broken
points.
ankle. Come on now.
25.
He did not have a broken ankle. Why do
it
we
might as well-
embellish the truth?
It might as well be broken. We at the time when
LeBron's thigh might as well. He might have broke his
He might-
femur.
He
But
said
he
he had a
was out of-
broken ankle.
he broke his
That's
At
femur.
the
right.
time when the game was on, everyone thought that foot was broke, and Isaiah scored 25 points in a quarter. And the highest in history in a quarter.
Samson
on a
lost
bad-
his strength when he cut his hair. You lost your basketball IQ when you caught yours.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
that wasn't funny.
I got a cramp. Oh,
That wasn't funny.
Listen,
Well,
Tito, stop
anyway,
teasing.
Heat's gonna take this championship
seven.
this year, so it's
Heat in 7 in San Antonio, and I
want to see
guarantee
Tim
you.
Duncan win something.
I don't want him. I don't see him
Tim
win
Duncan has
anything.
already had. Listen, the best thing that happened to Tim Duncan yesterday was that he finally got his hair cut by a black barber, and so that was the and kudos to Tim if you're watching. Tim, stay there wherever whatever neighborhood you had to go to get that haircut.
but he
You look
lost his
good, bro. Well, no, he normally has, and that's where the word
Beard
Timmy
and all
came
that.
from. He normally has a Timmy, and that's where the name originated from. But he had a good haircut yesterday. Kudos to the Spurs.
Oh, there's
Kudos to
the
the Spurs.
music. There's our music. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of Table Talk today. Join us next week at the same time for Table Talk. I'll have the ladies next week. And thank you, Robert. Thank you, Darren. And thank you, Chris. I hope you feel better. Ladies and gentlemen, see you then.
Take care.